Firstly, I would like to thank the speakers. It was a very nice speeches, and it's very hard for myself to continue doing the same attractive presentations. Thanks for Pharma Global for your invite. I'm actually going to have a very simple presentation. It will take like 20 minutes only. It's mainly related and talking about digital marketing in pharma business. And the most important thing that I will have to represent much more cases, which is actually present in Egyptian market, or maybe in Emirates, maybe in South Africa as well. So it's a practical cases. I will start my presentation with a very simple vote related to how much time do you really spend online per day. If you have the answers, please let me know the answers. Based on my previous experiences with too many groups, actually most of people select more than 8 hours because we actually do our work. We are connected online most of the time. We are navigating our social media networks. We are going for some digital applications. So I think digitalization became a very important part of our life, and it's really improving after COVID pandemic. Okay, there were a very eminent global survey. They asked customers, has the COVID-19 pandemic actually sped up digitalization in your company or not? The answer was more than 90% of employees and people in the survey. They answered that yes, in a great deal, actually digital transformation has been affected by COVID-19 pandemic. And based on my personal experience during the COVID-19 pandemic, actually, regardless that we are doing a certain plan, not built upon the digitalization, most of it was actually working and targeting the traditional way of communication, which was HCPs. However, there were a compelling need for digital transformation in order to reach our HCPs during COVID pandemic across last 2 years. So it is a compelling need right now. It's not only a new trend for digital transformation. And actually, according to Rogers Bell curve, segmenting your customers based on their adoption segmentation to the technology, we will find that almost 50% of our customers are technology savvy. However, the other 50% actually are technophobic. So from my point of view and my personal opinion, we have to do the harmony and the balance between two ways of communication, the traditional one in order to fulfill the needs for technophobic HCPs, and going for digitalization for techno-savvy customers, as well as to be matching with the changes in the market. If there is the pandemic will continue on, so we have to find a way to reach our customers. What's going to be my objectives if I am a marketeer responsible for brands or a portfolio of brands? Why I am thinking about digitalization? Maybe because I have to enhance brand awareness. Maybe I have to boost the perception for my brand, increase diagnosis for underdiagnosed diseases. Sometimes we have to create awareness related to diseases, not only taking care of HCPs, as per Dr. Hanan speech. She was mentioning our company social responsibility and our rules towards patient, and we have to go for patient communities to support them a big time. Okay, company social responsibility will be a very great objective for most of the eminent companies. Gathering market insights, I can believe that most of marketeers in pharma business, they do their own work through a desktop analysis, having a lot of tools to do this. However, gathering market insight through social media listening or through Google application and surveys. So we can gather market insight, and actually it's free of fees and free of charge. For some people, it's very hard to reach the desktop analysis approaches. Correcting misconception in case there is a claims related to the brand, for example, something related to efficacy, safety of the brand. So sometimes we have to respond to this claim. It's a little hint related to business in pharma. Actually, it's really well known, but we have to take care while creating our communication plan to our customer to segment the customers as per our brand personality. Okay, so we have two brand personalities common in pharma business. Brands with that we call ethical brands. We cannot go for a direct-to-consumer as their MOH legalities, as their code of conduct. So our customers are only physicians and pharmacists, maybe nurses in some cases for oncology brands, biosimilars, and the most complicated brands that need nursing. And the other segment of our brands, which are OTC brands, over-the-counter brands. Here we can go for direct-to-consumer following legal entities, and we can go for patient, caregivers, and the public. So we have to take care of the segmentation related to our brand's personality, as well as our target customer in pharma business, to avoid any problems related to legalities. Okay, what might be my digital approaches in pharma business? Actually, we might have too many digital approaches in pharma business. Okay, first of all, Atriggered email. It's widely used across too many websites. Website is a very big project related to the companies, and actually it takes hell of work, very long time, long approvals with healthcare authorities, and it's really take a very long time and logistics. Chatbots, I'm not quite sure that it's already well practiced in the pharma business. Maybe some companies actually adopted the virtual promotion centers, specifically across last 2 years. We have too many companies that are doing this, either for the doctors or for pharmacists as well, to announce about the brands, announce about OTCs, announce availabilities. Also, some companies has a virtual promotion center to talk about their brands. Mobile application, it's really compelling need right now. Some companies go for mobile application, but it's also takes time in development. However, it clicks in a very good way with doctors. Influencer marketing, maybe it's an approach related to, we can find it in, cosmetics, fashion, traveling, hotels, but not well implemented in pharma business. But I can feel that there is a great implications if we can go for influencer marketing. I have some insights related to this. Social media listening, we can, through Google media listening, we can search for some comments related to our brands. Social media campaigns according to brand personality, and finally Google ads and programmatic ads, which I do believe the most tool that it has a better return on investment, because actually it's targeting the specific customer based on the persona that we actually select before doing our advertising. I will start with few examples related to social media campaign. As per our previous discussion, I mentioned that we have two brand personalities. This is an ethical brand. It's a treatment for a disease called hypothyroidism. It's actually called thyroid talks. It's unbranded social media campaign on Instagram. It only has the branding colors of the company and for the treatment. Why did they do this? Because actually there are the market leaders. The brand treating this is a market leader, and actually if you develop disease awareness, expanding your target segment, this will indirectly impact your prescription and number of prescriptions. Also, they used some of testimonial videos related to HCPs to enhance awareness related to the disease with some endocrinologists treating those patients. Another campaign, which is a social media marketing on Instagram as well. It's for an OTC brand. It is called Novaldol. This brand, here you can find actually the announcement for the brand with the back, with the price, and everything is clear. Relating to these screenshots, you will find that they are engaging the pharmacies announcing the availability of the brand, the price, they do some announcement related to it, as well as the company used this application to announce the new brand name, as well as it's keeping the same price and they are keeping the same efficacy. Here it's an OTC brand. There is no problem related to the direct-to-consumer advertising, so they can use the brand name freely without any problems. Okay, what are the awareness campaign KPIs that we usually use? Actually, I can feel the reach and engagement and number of impressions and people engagement are the most important KPIs. Influencers marketing, as mentioned before, it's actually not very well adapted in the pharmaceutical marketing unless the thyroid talks campaigns that we are talking about. They use the testimonial videos for HCPs, and it's the only example that I found in the market related to influencer marketing. And why influencer marketing? Because 74% of people actually turn to social networks for guidance on purchase decisions, as well as 92% of customers trust on influencers more than advertisement, okay? And we actually go directly for the customers who are interested in your ads directly, okay? It's very common, as mentioned, in fashion, in food, in traveling, not in pharma business. I found this nice pharmacist, Dr. Nurhan Andil. Actually, she has 1.5 million followers. She's talking about healthy tip, healthy food, and helping people to live in a much more healthy life. For example, if there is a brand manager who is targeting, is managing a brand related to weight loss, for example, he can use some influencer marketing using such an influencer in their campaigns. Mobile application as well is really important tool. There is a nice one targeting pharmacies. It's called Pharmacy, and it belongs to AstraZeneca. Actually, its users are index for pharmacists. They have a dose calculator for their brand. They have to also do the body mass index calculator, disease awareness related to one of their brand, which is the only brand that mentioned in this application, which is a treatment for GERD. Also, they put distributors' contacts and a place while you can chat with AstraZeneca. What gonna be my mobile application KPIs? Number of installs, active users, average sessions, opened push notifications as well. Rep-triggered email, it's quietly done in the Egyptian market for a very long time. Actually, you have, as a marketeer, to ensure the whole approvals from MOH authorities and legal authorities related to your emails. Previous the usage of it could be considered as one of the collaterals for any campaign that you are doing. It actually must target the hot topics that experts and doctors might ask about. So during the discussion of our medical representative with the HCPs, they might have questions, specific questions, which we can predict as per our market insight. So we developed this rep-triggered email. Accordingly, the medical representative will return to his desktop and send this email to the customer. By this, he is closing the loop of communication with his doctor. Rep-triggered email KPIs, I do believe successful deliveries, click rates, and open rates. I do believe it's not about opening the email you have. If there is any if you have any questions, any links that you have to access, so you can measure this through the click rate. Remote detailing, which is dramatically used across the last 2 years. Companies actually have virtual promotion centers, so they can call doctors doing such a promotion through virtual expert meeting. You can target few number of doctors or 1 or 2 doctors through your meetings. You can send also bulk SMSs related to announcements with your customers. Virtual CMEs, webinars, and hybrid conferences, and actually what we are doing now is considered one of the virtual CMEs and webinar. It's a hybrid. Some of you are attending physically in the conference. Me, I'm already attending virtually. So it's a kind of communication to increase share of voice and to increase HCPs. Websites, it's a really important project. It's mainly related to company image. Sometimes you do it for a specific brand. This brand actually Telfast treatment for allergy. Participants actually are patients and HCPs in Egypt and South Africa. They have helpful advices, weather forecast, something related to allergy, some healthy tips. However, I can, as per my experience, websites are actually takes a very long time and the complication in terms of approval and the development. What are the KPIs? Definitely visits, bounce rate, pages per visit. Google advertising, and why we are going for Google Display Networks. We are going actually for Google Display Network because it's a group of more than 2 million websites, videos, and applications where your ads can appear. And actually, it can reach to 90% of internet users worldwide. In a very simple way, it's target already your target customers based on their persona, and they can detect their persona based on the customer search engines. So if you are visiting, for example, a website related to healthy tips, related to gym, to trainings and athletes. So you might have a pop-up advertising related to a drug like Milga. I found this a very good example related to Google advertising. Ads KPIs, it's number of clicks, number of impressions, and in video ads, the video views, the duration of watching or watching time for the ad. Actually, the whole presentation was talking about our communication to HCP to deliver the information related to your doctors and the message you are going to give to your doctors. However, here we are having another phase related to the digital approaches, which is collecting market insights through Google Trends. Here you can find that you can do a comparison between you and the competitor on the market. You can select the region, you can select the duration and find the trends related to, for example, your sales and number of units in the market. Google Alert, it's really a free tool to know what is said on Google about your brand. It's about, it somehow, measures your brand equity in the market. It notifies you via Google of the results that show your name or that of your brands. Okay, so you can register on Google Alert. You put and insert your name. What are the questions? Where they can notify you on which email. Then you can collect market insights related to your brand. Channel selection, we actually have too many channels: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, and LinkedIn. And in a conclusion, we will find that Twitter and LinkedIn somehow are most suitable for business rather than the other channels. However, it has a higher cost rather than other channels. In a summary, digital approaches in pharma business, we talked about social media campaigns, influencer marketing, those applications, rep-triggered email and remote detailing, virtual webinars, hybrid conferences, websites, Google Ads, Google Trends, and Google Alerts, channel selection. And thank you so much.
Hello, dear Dr. Mena. Hi. Thank you so much for your super useful and super interesting and super practical oriented slides and presentations. And we were so attached listening to your report, and thanks for sharing with us your practical cases. And your report inspired our audience a lot, and we have so many questions from the side of the audience. Okay. And if you do not mind, I will ask them on their behalf. And the first question goes about the influencers. So you spoke about this instrument for marketing in pharma, but is it applicable for big pharma? Isn't it goes against the compliance policies in big pharma companies? Share your experience with us, because it's such a question that can create such a complicated situation. Just can you share with us your point of view?
Yes, thank you so much for your questions. And actually, I'm interested with this part of the session because actually influencer marketing as, excuse me. I have to close my presentation.
Yeah, I believe you need just to switch off using the
Yes, screen. I'm trying to do so actually, but it's stop sharing. Okay. Is
super, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Is it much better?
Yeah. Here right now, our attendants, they see both of us on the screen, you and me. So yeah, so I would love to make a great discussion with you, and this would be super useful for our attendances as well.
Okay, so I have to look like this or like this to be matching with you. For your question, actually, the influencer marketing is really interesting. As mentioned before during our session, actually, we can find it more related to fashion, something related to traveling, hotels, maybe food advertising, something related to, not complicated brands, something which is really simple. And the influencer may be a very, simple person like me and like you. Anyone from our friends could be an influencer related to this, because all he needs is to have a good number of followers and have a high trust level. So we have to target both, not only number of influencers, we have to target actually the trust level in order to select our influencers in influencer marketing. Okay. While talking about pharmaceutical marketing, as mentioned before, we have two personalities for the brands. If you are talking about ethical brands, so your influencer here definitely will be HCPs, and with a very specific qualification. He should be eminent, well known, has a lot of followers, well trusted, and we can call him a key opinion leader by our market. Okay. So in some cases, and I'm actually working on something related to this, you can have some educational bites, testimonial videos related to HCPs to talk about efficacy, maybe safety, maybe. It depends on the brand, the personality, and the need in the market. So if you are having a problem and you need to solve it, you might need an HCP to go for talking about the problem. Maybe it's related to the whole market and it's related to the whole class. So no harm from your brand. Maybe you just wanted to go for an announcement related to a new brand with new technique, maybe. So he might talk about the new technology for the brand. Maybe, for example, pre-filled syringe, maybe lyophilization techniques, something related to the technology of the brand, maybe something related to guidelines and the special patient population, maybe related to a certain surgery. It depends on your brand. So, and according to your needs, you can go for most eminent HCPs, and they can do the testimonial videos for you. You can then use it in your conferences. You can use it in your digital platform if you have a portal for your company, maybe on booths in your conferences. A lot of ways of using these testimonial videos. You also may, if your brand is an OTC brand, so you can go for influencers, maybe HCPs, maybe non-HCPs, as I mentioned before, if you are doing for some muscle relaxants or analgesics, for example. So you can go for a normal people. We have TV ads related to some drugs for treating headache, for example. So you can have anyone that who is influencer to promote your brand. So you are using influencer marketing. Okay. For example, I went through a campaign for Mibu. I cannot recall actually the market. They used a video on YouTube for a chef. He was cooking and he had a burn. Then he treated himself with Mibu. It was a kind of the usage of influencers. Okay. I think this is the answer.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Thank you so much. And one more question that we have is related to using the digital marketing tools and your experience. Maybe you will share us some more cases from your background when you are using these digital marketing tools for doctors directly rather than patients, caregivers, and other societies.
Okay, let's go for some digital approaches targeting some of the doctors. Definitely, you can go for bulk SMSs. I used a lot of bulk SMSs just to go for HCPs for announcements related to some brands, related to availability, for example. So bulk SMS is one of the tools. We can go for rep-triggered email. Rep-triggered email as per the market need and as per the discussion. If you know your brand and you are quite sure about the questions and expected, objections from your doctors, you might prepare a series of rep-triggered emails that might answer the expected questions from their side, and then the medical rep, after the discussion with HCPs, they can go and send this rep-triggered email, and then they close the loop with their HCPs. Also, webinars actually, I personally did a lot of webinars across last years. Before pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic, actually, I used to go for somehow traditional way of communication. I think most of us were doing this. However, after pandemic, we have to reach our customer in a much digitalized way, increase the reach and increase brand awareness, and just to deliver your promotional message. So I did a lot of webinars, continuous medical education, which might be accredited, maybe in partnership with societies, eminent societies, so they can transfer the knowledge to HCPs as well. So webinars is one of the important tools, continuous medical education, even if digital or hybrid, because in a certain times the regulation has been changed, so you can go for a small number of people in the meeting room, and then you can spread the knowledge to the other through webinars, so you can reach a lot of people. Some educational and patient awareness related to maybe COVID, maybe something else, maybe it depends on your brand that you are managing. You will find a way to select the topic which is hot topic related to the doctors, and as well as it's serving your need as a brand lead. Okay. So once before I did some advertising on radio and some advertising on press and online advertising, but during this time I was responsible for a brand with OTC personality, so I already got all the MOH approvals in order to go for advertising and to be more specific branded advertising.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But when it goes about webinars, we have some specific questions. Some of them they will go from the audience and some will go from myself. So yes. What do you think when it goes about webinars and this marketing tool, can it be used to enhance the brand awareness?
Yes, definitely. You can have branded webinars related to your brand directly, talking about indication, patient profiles that you are managing. You have promotional speakers, symposia related to your brands. So you can already have the right to go for a promotional webinars, and it's ethical and it's really approved, and there is no any problems related to this. Sometimes you can go for a connected webinars from different places at the same time, so you can already link the experience of different maybe specialties or different people in different regions, and this might cover in sometimes if you have a shortage in number of medical representatives that they are working in some places, so you can do a connected webinars at the same time, connecting different experience from different regions.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And but actually it reduces the cost. It's really important aspect. If you have to the cost per head in such webinars, actually it's not a little bit, it's much more less than face-to-face meetings, because you can reach, for example, in one webinar like 20,000 HCP at the same time, if you are doing something related to awareness, and it's already happened. So the cost per head is actually very minimal related to doing such a big event actually in a face-to-face aspect. And actually it's not applicable. You will never be able to connect more than 100, maximum 150 HCPs, other than it will be a very messy actually. Yeah.
But when it goes about cost per head, so to your experience, how much lower this cost is, like 5 times, 10 times, like according to your experience?
If actually I didn't calculate it as a percent. However, if you are calculating, the budget for a certain meeting, you have cost for meals, cost for hotels and event and venue, for parking, for speakers. So you will exclude the first 2 parts. You will have only the streaming, live streaming, and the cost for the speakers, and then you can go directly. So you actually reduced like 70% of the cost, reaching maybe 10 times the number of customers that you are targeting in face-to-face face-to-face communication and conferences. And actually it's being a trend in market, not also for cost reduction. It's a trend, to accommodate with the market dynamics, because in COVID pandemic, actually, you have every now and then new regulation, either to stop gathering and doing conferences and meeting. Maybe you have only to have like maximum 15% per meeting, maybe more. and you have to be, flexible enough to accommodate with the regulations that comes from your country. In some countries, it's impossible to go for face-to-face conferences. In some countries, you can go for hybrid. So it's a solution for a case that was compelling across the last 3 years.
But when it goes about the efficiency of this instrument, share your opinion with us. So there is like some ideas, some people think that it cannot be compared, like webinars as a marketing tool, they cannot be compared with a face-to-face meeting. Of course, super great, but when it goes about the influence of sales, and we are all of us, we are here not just to do activities for nothing, we are here to do activities to reach the target goal, and we need to convert this to sales, our brands. And when it goes about the usage of webinars, have you calculated the efficiency of it, how it converted into sales, into like number of prescriptions the particular doctor did, or maybe you have tracked this already?
Actually, we will never be able to calculate it in terms of prescription, but maybe as return on investment. We have to be specific before doing such an activity based on our KPIs. Maybe our KPIs will be number of reach. I need to reach too much people as I can in order to do this awareness. So to reach like 10,000 or 20,000, for example, pharmacists or HCPs during pandemic, you cannot do this unless you can do a webinar. This is one of the aspects. The second aspect will be you can give an extra benefit for HCPs in order to be already interested in your webinar. You shouldn't only do it in a one-way communication. You may go for two-way communication. Maybe you can go for live streaming, for videos, or for example, surgeries. It will be interesting. Maybe the partnership with Eminent Society will be helpful, and if they have some accreditations, that will be really helpful for junior doctors. So if they have an extra benefit related to the speech, rather than just only one-way communication, they might be interested, as they are interested in face-to-face communication. I actually do not recommend to go 100% virtually for communication with HCPs. As you remember, in my maybe second or third slide, maybe I was talking about Rogers curve, and it actually mentions that almost 50% are tech savvy. However, the other 50% are tech phobic. So from my personal input and personal opinion, we have to do the balance between both ways of communication and ways of working, as well as we have to be flexible and mindful with the market dynamics, so you can go for maybe 100% virtually, maybe 100% face-to-face. If you are your brand, the main objective from your brand is to go virtually, and you go with a high. So virtual approach is really important if you are working on a niche product and your all target doctors are like 50 doctors or 100 doctors in the whole market. Definitely it will be of no value. So you have to focus on your customers. I cannot believe if I am working on oncology or a biosimilar brands that all my work is going to be something related to webinars all the time. You have to go for a close relationship with your customers. However, if you are working on analgesic, maybe doing a launch, and you have to reach to the maximum number of customers, have something like a treatment OTC brand, I think virtual approach has the highest return on investment. And I mean return on investment because the cost per head will be minimal related to the huge number of customers that you can reach.
Okay, but the last question I'm about to ask you, and this goes for the audience and from myself as well. When it goes about the engagement of doctors and HCPs to all those digital activities, so what we are like, so many companies are facing the difficulties. So when this pandemic happened, so the usage of all those webinars and all those activities increased rapidly. But now we can see that people are getting back to offline activities. Do you see the same trend on your events? And how do you react on this? Do you think this is about the ways and formats so that can be used in a digital way? Or this is a trend and we are about to move to kind of making the connection between offline and online engagement altogether at one venue. So what's your opinion about this?
I think, yes, the market dynamics has been highly changed. Now, I think most of us returned to the traditional way of promotion and face-to-face detailing. And I'm really, from my personal point of view, ensures that it's the most important way of communication, building rapport with HCPs, following on your brand, doing, the partnership. So medical representative and face-to-face detailing is the biggest asset for any company and for any brand, okay? However, the level of communication with digital approaches might increase or decrease as per your brand personality. Brand persona is really important, and as per the market dynamics. So if the market dynamic is actually returning back to be back to normal, so I do believe we can do this. Much more communication directly on a face-to-face aspect with HCPs, and we have also to keep the virtual communication, because actually we spend a very long time chatting, checking our applications, checking things online during websites. So your brand should appear in, the most important micro moments for your customer. For example, doctor needs a treatment for X disease. If you do search, you can find your brand on an online, on a webinar, maybe on ad, maybe on your website. So you have to be available virtually all the time. However, the percentage of work and the balance between being digitalized to being using the traditional way should be varying according to the situation and brand persona.
Thank you so much. And like all of us, we extremely appreciate you about your report and about sharing experience with us, and would be happy to see you on our future events. And yeah, and we are about to get back to the next topic, and all the questions that are in the chat right now that it goes to Dr. Mona, we will forward her directly, and of course we will reply to all of them. And so thank you so much, Dr. Mona. It was our great pleasure to have you on our event today. And I would suggest to move to another topic that is somehow connected with what just Dr. Mona said. And this topic goes about influencers. And we will speak about 7 key strategies for pharmaceutical companies of using the influencers as an instrument for promoting medications.